ITV is a commercial television channel in the United Kingdom. Previously a network of separate regional television channels, ITV currently operates in England, Wales, Scotland and the Channel Islands. From 2001 until 2013, the channel was called ITV1. In 2004, Granada Television acquired Carlton Communications to form ITV plc. ITV is the biggest and most popular commercial television channel in the United Kingdom. ITV and its predecessor channels have contended with BBC One for the status of the UK's most watched television channel since the 1950s. However, in line with other terrestrial channels, ITV's audience share has fallen in the era of multi-channel television history. Following the creation of the Television Act 1954, the establishment of a commercial television service in the UK began. The Independent Television Service, or ITV, was made up of regions, with each region run by different companies. The three largest regions were subdivided into weekday and weekend services, with a different company running each. ITV existed in a region-heavy form from its inception to the 2000s, although the switch was gradual. ITV1 became the generic on-screen brand name used by the 12 franchises of the ITV network in the United Kingdom. The brand was introduced in 2001 by Carlton and Granada-owned franchises, initially used alongside the local regional name. However, it became the sole on-air identity in 2002 when the two companies decided to create a single unified playout of the channel, with regional references only used prior to regional programming. Carlton and Granada went on to merge in 2004, creating ITV plc, which now owns 12 of the 15 regional ITV licenses. The ITV1 name was only used in England, Wales, southern Scotland and Isle of Man until Channel Television adopted the name in January 2006, bringing it to the Channel Islands. It should be noted, however, that as national continuity is often used on channel television, ITV1 national branding had been seen on the station for several years previously. The licensees that used the ITV1 brand were Anglia Television, Border Television, Carlton Television, Central Independent Television, Channel Television, Granada Television, ITV Wales and AMP, West London Weekend Television, Meridian Broadcasting, Tynes Television, West Country Television and Yorkshire Television. ITV Wales and AMP West was the only exception, using the name ITV1 Wales at all times for the Welsh part of its broadcast area, as it has a higher regional commitment. Latterly, the ITV1 Wales name was only used on break bumpers and regionally advertised programs. Non-ITV plc-owned licensees on the network generally did not refer to the ITV1 name. The network production arms of the ITV plc-owned licensees have been gradually combined since 1993 to eventually form ITV Studios. Corporate unification. ITV was formed by the unification of 11 of the ITV licenses. The Broadcasting Act 1990 changed many of the rules regulating the ITV network, which most notably relaxed franchise ownership and hours of production. However, as far back as 1974, Yorkshire Television and its northeast neighbour, Tynes Television, a formerly created Trident Television, a merged entity of the two companies. By 1981, due to regulation, the company was forced to demerge. However, they resumed their alliance in 1993 as Yorkshire Tynes Television, which therefore owned the two franchises and integrated the two companies' assets more than its predecessor. However, the intense race to own more of the ITV network began in 1994 when Carlton Communications Communications, the owner of London weekday broadcaster Carlton Television, took control of Central Independent Television in the Midlands. Literally days afterwards, Granada plc, owner of Granada Television of the North West, purchased London Weekend Television. Meridian's owner, Mills and Allen International, then went on to purchase Anglia Television in the same year, before merging to become United Media in 1995. UNM then went on to purchase Wales and West broadcaster HTV in 1996, while Carlton purchased West Country Television later that year. Granada then agreed a deal to take over Yorkshire Times Television in 1997, giving the broadcaster access to both Yorkshire and North East franchises. There was no movement in the takeover of franchises until 2000, when Border Television and all of its radio assets were sold to Capital Radio Group, who consequently sold the television broadcasting arm to Granada Media Group. Granada then went on to purchase all of UNM's television interests, which brought Meridian, Anglia and HTV into its power. However, due to regulation, Granada was forced to sell HTV to Carlton. By this time, all of the franchises in England and Wales were owned by either Carlton or Granada. In 2004, Granada plc officially merged with Carlton Communications, creating Itv plc, although it was a takeover by Granada in effect. In 2011, Itv plc acquired Channel Television from its private owners Yattendon Group plc. On the 19th of October 2015, Itv announced they were to buy UTV for £100 subject to regulatory approval. The deal also included UTV Ireland, UTV's Irish channel. Unlike other Itv franchises owned by Itv plc that use the Itv name, the UTV name will be retained. Regional variations. Itv consists of 11 franchises in England and Wales which broadcast regional news and other local programming to its area. Many franchise areas in England previously had sub-regions providing separate regional news bulletins. For example, the Anglia region was divided into West and East. This arrangement came to an end in February 2009 when Itv implemented plans to save the company £40 million a year on the amount it spent making local news. Since the 27th of October 2002, all Itv plc-owned franchises, regional programming was either preceded or plugged by an oral regional announcement, in the format ITV1 regional brand, e.g. ITV1 Granada, in English regions. Up until the 13th of November 2006, regional names were also superimposed on these idents below the ITV1 logo. However, this practice has since ceased. Itv Wales remains unaffected and still continues to use dual branding across all of its on-screen presentation. Despite the lack of regional names on screen, the regional name is usually spoken by the announcer prior to local programs. After ITV's unification in 2002, the two London franchises, Carlton Television and London Weekend Television, were merged into a single entity, Itv London, while the Wales and West franchise lost its official identity and instead was substituted with Itv Wales and Itv West on air, with no reference linking the two together. Channel Television adopted the ITV1 brand on air prior to the 2011 Itv plc takeover of the channel. Areas with full Itv branding and continuity. In the English regions, the channel has been known from 2006 until 2013 as ITV1 and since the 14th of January 2013 as ITV at all times. Regional references no longer appear before any programming at all in these areas. Channel Television still used its own idents, promos and break bumper etc. until 2013, when it began using the 2013 ITV idents, promos, and break bumpers and on promos for Channel Television's non-news programs and regional news and weather, even though Channel Television is now owned by ITV plc. The ITV Wales name is not used overnight. Areas without full ITV branding and continuity. QTV uses the ITV branding between the end of the teleshopping strand at around 2:30 am until the end of ITV breakfast. UTV branding is used from 9:25 am to 2:30 am daily. Proposed regional changes. In June 2007, ITV plc Executive Chairman Michael Grade hinted at a possible restructure of the ITV regional layout, stating the existence of smaller regional services no longer makes sense relative to the regional audience they serve. The plan was confirmed in September 2007, reducing the number of regional news programs from 17 to just 9, saving around £35 to £40 million each year, and affecting every ITV plc regional company with the exception of ITV London, ITV Wales and ITV Granada. These changes were implemented in early 2009. All sub-regional news programs ceased. ITV Borders Look Round program was merged with ITV Tyne's North East Tonight program. ITV West Country's West Country Live merged with ITV West's The West Tonight program, and ITV Meridian's Meridian Tonight South and South East editions merged with ITV Thames Valley's Thames Valley Tonight. On the 16th of September 2013, ITV reverted to a more localized system, as was the case prior to a shake-up in 2009, with 14 news regions. This meant people in the borders, for example, saw a return to a border-only news service, with all stories covered solely on southern Scotland and Cumbria, similar to the pre-Tyne's merger in February 2009. Meanwhile, in the West Country, viewers in Devon and Cornwall also saw a return to a more localized service. Branding. Independent television. For the founding of the ITV network in 1955, it was known nationally as independent television and locally by the regional branding of the local ITV franchise operator, ITV. In 1989, the ITV Association set out a generic presentation package with a new ITV logo, which included idents, promotions and general on- and off-air design, and an edit of this package was designed for each franchise holder. The dual-branded idents included a large ITV logo, in which the V contained part of the franchise's logo, and written below the logo in a grey capitalized font was the name of the regional broadcaster. However, only half of the regional broadcasters opted to use the package, which had completely failed by 1997. TV from the Heart. In 1999, another second common presentation package was launched, under the theme, TV from the Heart. Like the 1989 attempt, a version was created for every franchise holder, however it was only taken by 9 of the 15 ITV broadcasters, 2 of which resorted to other designs, being London Weekend Television, which actually used the look for a year but then adopted a more original look, and HTV, which adopted Carlton's identity when it was purchased by the company in 2001. Carlton, owner of 3 ITV licenses at the time, did not adopt their generic look and instead used another package designed by Lambinayan, which again followed the TV from the Heart theme, however with more emphasis on the Carlton corporate identity. ITV1. By 2001, all 11 franchises of England and Wales were owned by either Granada plc or Carlton Communications, and a new common name, ITV1, was launched on the 11th of August 2001 to coincide with digital channel ITV2. The existing Hearts idents were simply re-edited. However, from 28th of October 2002 in England, the Scottish, English border and Isle of Man, the station dropped regional branding and identification before most programming and adopted a unified national branding of ITV1. In Wales, although the HTV name has been dropped, some regional identification remains in the form of ITV1 Wales. At this time, all regional continuity announcers were replaced with a single team of 6 national continuity announcers. Since the rebrand of 2006, that team has been reduced to just 4. In January 2006, the channel adopted a new on-air look to coincide with the launch of ITV4, designed mainly to improve cross-channel promotion across ITV's multi-channel presence. The new logo brought ITV1, ITV2 and ITV3 in line with ITV4's, and had been observed on various billboard ads in the UK when the new identity was first used on screen on the 16th of January 2006. The overhaul also put an end to the former ITV Day brand, which was axed in favor of a full-time ITV1 identity. On the 13th of November 2006, a new set of idents replaced the previous set which debuted in January, the theme being alive with color. The initial set consisted of beach bike, lake and market, basketball, and pavement art were added later in the year. They were created by Blink Productions for ITV, unlike the old idents which were masterminded by Red Bee Media. The logo remained the same in essence, only the ITV lettering was inverted from its previous white state to black, to allow it to stand out against the yellow more. On the 3rd of September 2007, 4 more idents were added to the set, featuring bubbles, fountains, garden, and buildings. And as of the 19th of September 2009, all now have the brighter side on the brake bumpers. On the 9th of April 2010, 4 more idents were added to the set: lanterns, sunflowers, snakes and ladders, and dodgems, featuring an updated ITV1 logo as seen on ITV1 HD. In September 2009, ITV plc announced that ITV1+1, a 1-hour time-shift version of ITV1, would launch in October 2009 from 10:25 am to 7 am daily. The hours covered by GMTV from 7 am to 10:25 am will not originally have been included in the relay. The channel launched on the 11th of January 2011. ITV Day in 2005, ITV plc introduced a new channel branding called ITV Day, used to identify ITV1 between 9:25 am and 6 pm. ITV Day was treated as a separate entity to ITV1 and featured its own presentation set focusing using the colors of red, orange and yellow, and featured scenes of typical daytime activities. Promotions were used in a similar format to ITV1, and all daytime programs advertised within ITV1 hours were branded with the ITV Day logo. A similar UTV Day branding was adopted in Northern Ireland. 2013 rebranding. On the 15th of November 2012, it was announced that as part of a major rebranding, ITV1 was renamed back to its previous name, ITV. In addition to this, ITV had a new color-changing logo stylized as handwriting, that changed color depending on the programming it is used on. It was revealed that the logo had green and purple for Dancing on Ice, and green and brown for Why I'm a Celebrity. Get Me Out of Here. The overhaul is linked to ITV's attempt to cut costs, curb debts and reduce the company's reliance on advertising. This overhaul of the brand affected all ITV plc channels and online services. The rebrand went live on the 14th of January 2013, at the same time as the other ITV channels. Also, for the first time in its history, a digital on-screen graphic was introduced. Notable programming: spin-off channels, ITV HD, a high-definition simulcast of ITV HD, debuted on the 2nd of December 2009 with the technical launch of the Freeview HD service. The channel has its roots in ITV HD, which began as a trial service in 2006 on a low-powered digital terrestrial channel from London's Crystal Palace transmitting station, and on Telewest TV Drive cable service. The channel was revived on the 7th of June 2008 in time for the UEFA Euro 2008 football tournament, this time exclusively available on the Freesat digital satellite service with its debut on Freeview HD. The channel was rebranded as ITV1 HD in December 2009. ITV Plus 1 on the 1st of September 2009, it was announced that ITV would get a 1-hour time shift on digital satellite and Virgin Media on the 1st of October 2009, subject to the Competition Commission's ruling on the contract rights renewal system. However, on the 18th of September 2009, it was announced that ITV1+1 had been postponed until further notice. Prior to this announcement, EPG data for the service had appeared on satellite. The Competition Commission delayed the final decision in its review of ITV's contract rights renewal undertakings to the end of February 2010, because it had to consider the significant submissions it has received. On the 19th of January 2010, the Competition Commission delivered its provisional findings, ruling that audiences for both ITV1+1 and ITV1 HD will be accredited to ITV1's commercial impact. The Competition Commission recognized that the broadcaster had been deterred from launching new ways of delivering ITV1, because of the way media buying is currently conducted under the established contracts rights renewal mechanism. However, the regulator rejected ITV's proposed removal of large elements of the outdated CRR undertakings while maintaining an obligation on ITV to offer ITV1 airtime on fair and reasonable terms. The Competition Commission announced that such a change would leave the process too open to interpretation and that they were not likely to be either practicable or effective in addressing the adverse effects of the merger. On the 12th of May 2010, the Competition Commission stood by its provisional decision to retain the contracts rights renewal system, but it added that the mechanism should be dropped at some point and that the entire UK TV ad sales market needs a review. ITV1 remains a must-have for certain advertisers and certain types of campaign, said the chairman of the CRR review group at the Competition Commission, Diana Guy. Despite all the changes in this market, no other channel or medium can come close to matching the size of audience that ITV regularly provides. So the essential reason for the CRR undertakings remains to protect advertisers and other commercial broadcasters. The ITV chief executive, Adam Crozier, said that the ruling was out of touch and damaging for the interests of Creative Britain. He added that it was unlikely that ITV would look to seek a judicial review, but that ITV would redouble its lobbying campaign for a liberalisation of regulation and and urgent modernization of competition law, but the Commission said there was virtual unanimity among advertisers, media agencies, commercial broadcasters and trade bodies that CRR should be kept in some form. The Commission confirmed that the CRR remedy should be broadened to include ITV+1 and ITV's high-definition channels. On the 27th of July 2010, the House of Lords confirmed plans to launch an inquiry into the television advertising market, which paid particular attention to the CRR mechanism. The Lords Committee investigated the declining revenues that commercial broadcasters gain from the sale of advertising across the networks. The members also considered possible changes to current ad market regulation, including the CRR system, product placement rules and the scheduling and sale of advertising. The committee wanted to hear evidence on the current levels of regulation and what impact a relaxation of the rules could have had on the commercial broadcasting sector. Interested parties submitted written evidence to the inquiry on the 24th of September 2010, with oral evidence being heard in October. A written report was expected to follow in late 2010 or early 2011. On the 3rd of August 2010, ITV plc announced the launch of ITV1+1 would take place in Q1 2011, with Barb later reporting that the channel would be launched on the 11th of January 2011. In December 2010, full testing of all 6 regions began on satellite. ITV1+1 was launched on the 11th of January 2011 on Freesat Channel 112, Freeview Channel 33, Sky Channel 131 and Virgin Media Channel 114. ITV1 broadcasts 22 different editions of digital satellite, but the timeshift service originally only transmitted 6 macro-regional variants: London, South East Macro, West Macro, Central, Yorkshire Tynes Macro, Granada Border Macro. On the 1st of March 2012, 4 additional variations were launched for the Anglia Television, Tynes Television, West and West Country Television regions, with the South East Macro becoming Meridian Broadcasting, West Macro becoming Wales and Yorkshire Tynes Macro becoming Yorkshire Television. The channel was rebranded as ITV+1 on the 14th of January 2013 as part of the rebranding of ITV's television channels and ITV's online services. Availability outside the UK. ITV is widely available in the Republic of Ireland on cable and MMDS, as well as being received directly in areas bordering Northern Ireland, or in coastal areas from Wales. It is also available on cable and IPTV in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. Since the 27th of March 2013, Itv London has been offered by British Forces Broadcasting Service to members of HM forces and the families around the world, replacing the BFBS3 TV channel, which already carried a selection of ITV programs. Logos.